So, Banat,
So,
what are our aims and objectives, and what are we seeking from this project?
okay, I like that question. I wanted to make a video like this, sitting down and just be like, okay, in
An
10 years'
introduction,
time,
as it were.
yeah.
Mm.
The aims is, for me, the aims, obviously, I have a big I am a big part of the company, and obviously, if or when DNA Code starts making a lot of money, I will be profiting from that a lot. But that is not my aim, really, just to profit. It's not just to make money like a lot of people in business are. I feel like I just want to actually make a difference.
Mm.
You know, like, this isn't just something that I want people to use as an, oh, it's cool. Like, I can work this out, I can work that out. It's personal for me. You know, I want to be understood myself for how sensitive I am. I want people to treat me in a way that is not going to make me like stressed, not going to make me stress out, because I have had social anxiety in the past, and I wish people understood how I worked. I want recognition myself, and by more people understanding the innate code, more people will understand me, and I'll be more recognized. I'll be more accepted by people. So it's very personal.
I guess my part to play in this is for a couple of years now, I've been seeking a deeper understanding of myself, looking at life through a different lens, and wanting to achieve and aspire to be something great, essentially.
Yeah.
The innate code, the innate understanding has given me an opportunity to present myself in a way where I can be proud of the conversations that we have, the theoretical discussions. My apologies, and just allow people to get a different slice of life. I've always been interested in philosophy and opening up people's minds and broadening the horizons of individuals. So this is another aspect of that for me. I always said when people asked me, what is it that you want to do? Who do you want to be?
Yeah.
My answer for a while was simply, I don't just want to be another blip on the map.
That's a
I
good
want to
answer.
make a difference.
Yeah.
The innate code, the innate understanding gives me the opportunity to do this, to present to people, like I said, a new lease on life, I hope. And so, combined, the efforts of Bernat and Jermaine, we hope to get this out to people and to make an impact.
I wish we could cheer for that to make an impact.
To make an impact.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it will. I think it'll be a big impact as well.
Skull.
Amen. I read a book. It's called Why Start With Why. It's about how businesses, the most successful businesses such as Apple, such as like Ford, whatever, car companies, the reason they're so successful isn't because they have the best quality or the best prices or the best, customer service, blah blah blah. It's because they actually care. They have a reason. They're not just wanting to make money. They're wanting to change things. They want to be innovative. They want to make a real difference. And I feel that's how to get this company successful, is present yourself on camera, because right now we are the face of the company and we are the face of DNA Code, and we want to seem genuine. We are genuine people, so that's why I think it's perfect, because we want to show people we care ourselves about people.
When these cameras turn off, we're laughing because we're stealing all your money.
Yeah.
We're taking everything.
We're just like,
They fell for it.
they fell. No, but honestly,
Yes, we are sincere in our messaging.
I think we are.
We hope that you can join us for the ride.
Yeah. Grab some popcorn.
Get a drink. Tell some friends to come on by.
Indeed.
And listen to the innate understanding
Exactly.
with me, Jermaine Harris, and
Bernat Axe.
here we go.
I like this shirt.
It is very nice, very nice. Can't beat a flannel, mate, honestly.
I didn't know that's what they were called, but that's pretty
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
Clearly you've not had such a wide array of flannels as I.
I have not. You're right.
Literally consisted of about 90% of my wardrobe 2
Really?
years ago, yeah.
Wow. No, they're nice. It's so good.
It's like a skater look,
Yeah.
Ripped jeans, flannel,
I need ripped
nice
jeans.
graphic tee. Yeah, that was
Indeed.
my look, mate. That was my
Indeed.
look.
It's pretty cool.
I've been considering the future a lot recently.
Right.
Even in my dreams, like just outweighing possibilities and seeing where it is I exactly want to be, where I want to go.
Yeah.
I think it's always a daunting task, though, to actually imagine yourself in a place where you feel comfortable and happy and fulfilled. I mean,
Well, do you mean like career-wise, or?
just in general, like, where is it that I'll live? Where is it that I'll work? Where is it that I'll find myself, It's daunting. It is daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the beaten path, the typical beaten path is so, I don't know, normalised and safe. But I kind of veered off it a bit. So now I'm like trying to retrace my steps, retrace my tracks, but the path, it's become overgrown. I need a lawnmower to
I see.
see the tracks again. So to try and assimilate back into normalcy and figure out who I am and what I want to do, it's something that I'm working towards at the moment.
I think that's one of the biggest challenges we young people face, is figuring out who we are. Maybe not just young people, but just everyone in general.
Everybody, yeah.
And are you getting close? Has that path been
I feel like life experiences definitely dictate a lot of it, and I feel like you've got to be willing to put yourself into situations that you would most times feel uncomfortable within
Oh yeah,
to truly grow.
definitely.
Even something like this,
You've got to seek discomfort
Yeah.
in order to grow. Yeah,
We're seeking out discomfort, essentially. We're placing ourselves in front of a camera,
in front of people.
microphones in front of our faces,
Yeah,
speaking out to the world. Yeah,
but
it's
I
all
mean,
part of the adventure.
yeah, definitely. Would you say after doing this a few times, because we've done this a decent amount now.
Yeah, we're pros at
Are you
this,
getting-
no biggie.
Yeah. Are you getting comfortable?
I am getting comfortable. This is, I guess,
That's good.
becoming normal.
What would you say your first experience was like?
It was, I wouldn't say nerve-wracking because I'm always up for new experiences. Like, I seek them out, but daunting.
Yeah.
I had the feeling of, oh, where is this going to go? What's going to happen? How's it
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be? But, settled in. Got a good partner to work with.
I appreciate it.
So, yeah, I'm here for the ride.
It's alright then. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you were busy one of the weeks and I had already set up. I went out to see Darren. It was meant to be the last day. I saw him before he went to Australia, but I mean, he said that a lot because he had to constantly change his flights. But basically, one of my other mates, and I brought him on the podcast, and I was like, "Oh, so are you comfortable with camera?" And he was like, "Oh no, let's just do mics." So it's not like it is a very like uncomfortable thing
It's
the first time.
You're laying yourself bare, right?
Yeah,
Because a voice is just a voice, but when the person is matched with the voice, then that is your true self, and then your true self placed in front of a camera that people can gaze upon
yeah,
through
definitely.
video. It's daunting, like I said. But we're here.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We are. The Innate Understanding. It is a podcast about not just understanding yourself, but understanding our true existence.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Quick intro there.
There you go.
But anyway, let's start off light. Psychedelics.
Psychedelics. Oof. Interesting
We are
subject.
both very not experienced in psychedelics, but
Got a fair share.
fair share.
Well,
not comparable to a lot of people out there, though, I feel like.
no.
We
But
are
what is
very-
comparable to a lot of people when we're talking about the realm of psychedelics? Like,
Yeah,
it's not a common thing, but it's not uncommon.
yeah.
What is your experience with psychedelics? How has it been for you?
See, before I went into psychedelics, I I watch like a lot of YouTubers, a lot of videos about it because I like researching what I'm about to put in my body, and my whole like target with it wasn't necessarily to go enjoy myself. I didn't prepare myself for that, which I feel like made it more manageable and more effective. When I went into psychedelics, I wanted to actually get something meaningful out of it, something that will last me a lifetime, something that is useful, something that isn't just taking a drug to just have fun and enjoy yourself and just see shit, as people say it is, because I think LSD and mushrooms, the only psychedelics I have done, not DMT and stuff like that, but LSD and mushrooms are not just visuals and having fun and stuff. It can be very mentally challenging, and I used it to kind of like deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of like emotional trauma I've experienced in the past.
Yes, it's not something to abuse like any other drug or any other substance or any other thing for that matter. I think there's always the struggle of finding a balance when you're seeking out something new, and the responsibility that you have to take upon your own shoulders to understand what it is that you're taking, make sure that what it is that you're doing is something that you're going to feel okay with doing, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. You should be very safe about it and sensible.
Yes.
It can, end really badly for some people if they don't do it sensibly.
Psychedelics is not something to be played with.
No, definitely not.
A message to the young kids out there. I have never done acid. I've only ever taken mushrooms.
Just to clarify, acid is LSD tabs. They've got a lot of different street names.
Mushrooms, pretty obvious, magic mushrooms. I don't know any of the terminology for them. Yes, I experienced them in a wave of experiencing a lot of other things because I am a curiosity seeker. So my experience with psychedelics was more so I just want to try them. I'm very spontaneous, and in my spontaneity can be quite dangerous with the things I do. So Benat is the more responsible and
I wouldn't say so.
mature one, I suppose, in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you think it impacted you? How do you think it's still impacting you now?
That's a good question. Oh, still impacting. I love how you said that, because sometimes because I use it to get over emotional trauma. When I get, flashbacks, like PTSD, when I get memories of that emotional trauma, I'll see the visuals that I saw on psychedelics sober, which is a crazy concept. I saw, when I was tripping, when I was on the substance, I saw patterns. And these were patterns of faces representing the guilt and shame I felt. So, a bunch of faces like in the trees, like on your phone, like just every single like crevice turning and morphing into these faces looking back at me. That was very scary when I was on it. But a very good quote that actually helped me get through it is just like, when you're on psychedelics, the world isn't scary, it's just different and you're just not used to it. The same way like real life sober, if you weren't used to it, if you were just born, like
new experiences are daunting.
Yeah, it's just strange. But it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. There's no bad. I don't think there's bad trips.
No,
not
at all.
No, like bad is that's a very mental construct as humans have created, but it's not an actual like thing that exists, good or bad, in my opinion. It's just different.
I do intend to do more psychedelics as I get older, but for the time being, I intend to maintain sobriety in terms of psychedelics until I know that I'm at a place where I am seeking out an understanding and yearning for the desire of more information that could possibly be given to me through such an experience.
Well, I've got you a surprise.
Well, yes.
Do you want some tabs? No. I respect that.
I went through a journey in the past 2 years of self-discovery through self-medication of a lot of different substances. Therefore, I feel like for me to delve back into that realm, even though psychedelics is far removed from a lot of the other things I've done, I would have to first truly know what I wanted from it.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying seeking out an actual understanding.
I think that's a good level of maturity.
Yes, and I just know that I'm easily swayed and easily influenced, and a very spontaneous individual who, at the first chance of an exciting experience, will seek it, grasp
Yeah.
it, and not let go.
Jump right back into it, right?
Jump right back into it, yeah.
It's just your impulsiveness. Gotta control that.
I'm an uncontrollable animal. Can't be stopped. But I have a question for you, sir.
Go for it.
What do you think of the government's standpoint on things like psychedelics, and how do you think it could possibly be detrimental to individuals?
I feel like with the current education on psychedelics, I understand the standpoint they're getting at. And I know a lot of people want psychedelics and any substance to be legalized because, people can make their own choices and everything. But I feel like without a proper education, these substances can be detrimental, it can do more good than bad. So essentially, I feel like, until there's proper education about it, which I think we should introduce, but then again, we can't properly educate people without knowing a lot about psychedelics, and we don't currently because there's not been many research because it's been illegal. So it's kind of like
paradoxical in a sense, yeah. I believe it probably should be illegal, as you said at the time we live in right now. Due to also what you said, just the lack of overall education and understanding around it. But like I said, in the paradoxical sense, the reason why there is such a lack of understanding and education around it is because the government has deemed it to be illegal, and therefore, as soon as anything's illegalized, you have the immediate overarching demon, which is stigma. And stigma's probably the worst thing out there, because it can make people who may need the use of psychedelics as a coping mechanism or as something that they can use to better understand themselves.
I definitely think it could be good for a lot of people, definitely.
But they are demonized for taking such things, yeah.
And if you're having a trip, which you're thinking of psychedelics as, this bad substance, you're more likely to have a scary trip that can end badly for you. I said there's no bad trips, but there can definitely be
negative.
Like scary, like uncomfortable ones, which people will find hard to recover from. Anyway, what's your experience with psychedelics like?
The first time I took magic mushrooms, I simply went on a walk with a few pals of mine up into the woods.
Oh, the woods! I am jealous. Mine was in a city.
Oh, really? That must have been awful.
Skyscrapers, bending down. Have you seen Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It must have been an experience, though, I imagine.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I enjoyed that part, yeah.
Although being surrounded by a whole heap of people probably was uncomfortable.
To be honest, somehow I was more comfortable by nature. I felt I had a deeper connection with people. Like people just walking and animals as well. I had a deeper connection. But for some reason, for me, the trees, like just nature itself seemed very scary and foreign. Which was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sat ourselves down in some woods, and we just sat among some flowers, some lilac flowers, and it was pretty. And
how much did you take?
How much did I take? I want to say maybe 1.2, 1.5.
No, so not too
much. Not major, no. Although I can't accurately remember, so maybe it was more, maybe it was less. But
did you have a scale?
I wasn't weighing them out. I can't remember, to be honest.
Guys, make sure you have a scale. All right.
as we said,
£20 on Amazon.
The responsible one, the spontaneous one. Go with the flow. Yes, the trees grew faces, and it was a mystical experience. But there was nothing more to it than that for me. It wasn't a deep understanding of who I was. Or I didn't have an actual conversation or any deeper understanding than I did before. For me, it was a simple trip. I feel like
Yeah.
the second time it was the same. I mean, the second time I took more, I think quite a bit more. Didn't really kick. Didn't really affect me. I
Really?
ate them straight up, straight out the hand.
Wow.
No sandwich, no drink.
Interesting.
Just I was definitely probably high, as it were, wandering through fields, and
Yeah.
I remember we jumped over this gate onto a farmer's field, and I was running with a skateboard above my head
Wow.
as we ran through a field of sheep. And I felt like Moses parting a
Yeah.
sea of sheep as we ran across this farmer's field. But yeah, so for me, it was more the fun experience of, oh, let's just take some shrooms, get high, and have fun.
You didn't.
Which is,
You didn't seek anything meaningful.
well, no,
from
which is why I said, for future reference, I intend to be seeking out something.
Maybe it's about balance, though. Maybe you should
Yes.
also enjoy it and seek something meaningful, which is a mistake I made because I never tried to enjoy it. But
You're trying to decipher everything.
yeah, and psychedelics kind of doesn't really let you do that. You don't control the trip.
The trip controls you. Yeah. Fun times, eh?
Fun times.
I do think it should. I feel like it can be legalized in a way that allows it to be slowly put into society, and not where it's something that's legalized and it's free reign. For example, in America, in North America, I know that they do ayahuasca rituals, and they have compounds in which these treatments are offered, and they've got shamans who are proficient and
I've
experienced,
Yeah.
and it offers a safe environment for you to be able to understand.
I've seen a Vsauce. Was it that YouTuber who went to one of these rituals and took ayahuasca?
Yeah.
I actually know someone who did it as well.
Really?
Yeah. She went on she is a lot older, like late 30s. Well, I know her from my mum, and she went to one of these like 4-day camp things, and apparently it was like crazy. It was
Where was
magical.
this?
No idea. Some
Adds to the
Indonesian
mystery.
I don't know.
But yes, I believe if they allowed the implementation of things like that within
Yeah.
Europe, in England, especially because that's where they're operating out of,
Yeah.
there could be great benefits to that. Because I've heard stories, and obviously you can hear as many stories as you want, but without experiencing it, you'll never truly be able to grasp it wholly. But I do believe there would be benefit within it, because I do believe that psychedelics do offer the key to a deeper level of human understanding that we are not able to operate or understand through our mere selves.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree, definitely. Just you'd want the training for that as well, like people doing these. But yeah, centers and safe spaces where people can take them. Definitely, I feel like that'd be very useful.
psychedelics it's the one drug that I am interested in fully delving into at some point and having a deep understanding of, to where I can be an educated person speaking to people and being able to offer sound advice.
I think soon they will be legalized in a lot more places, because they are already legal in some places, and that's what I kind of want to do with my degree as well. I think it'd be very interesting to study the effects and therapy and stuff like that. Yeah.
The next generation, we get to mold and change the world, and it's exciting times.
Hopefully. The way I look at psychedelics, in a way, is you go into these trips, because if you've ever had a trip, you will understand this. You go into these trips not necessarily because you want to, but you feel like you have to. And when you come out of a trip, you're not necessarily in a mood to go in again. Like, it takes a long time for you to prepare yourself again for psychedelics. And the way I look at it is, when you're sober, when you're off these substances, you create a very structured, reinforced mental structure, a mental image. And when you take these psychedelics, it kind of puts like tears in it, kind of rips it apart, breaks down all this foundation that you built yourself, and that's when you use a substance in a way that is meaningful, in my opinion. But when you come out of this trip, your initial response will be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done this. Like, that was a bad trip or whatever." But what you got to understand is when you're off these substances again, you rebuild this foundation, but you build this much stronger than it was before.
You're reconstructing previously perceived notions about
Yeah.
yourself, about other people,
And
and
your
about the world
beliefs.
you live,
Yeah,
and about
definitely.
your beliefs.
And that's why I feel like it is so useful, because you are able to grow as a much bigger person, you are able to become much better than what you were before. And without this, it's a much slower process. So I think that's why psychedelics is a good thing, because you can tear these, especially if the foundations you originally built weren't that good in the first place, or it was an unhealthy belief system, and you're able to tear this down and build something better, build something stronger with the right kind of guidance.
Yes, as we said, starting in controlled environments in which you have people who are experienced, such as shamans, being able to guide you, teach you, and be there as trip sitters to maintain a level of health and safety. Yes, I feel like it is definitely a start of something. We're living in a new era, a new time, a fantastic time to be alive, as the world feels like it's crumbling on the outside, but people are slowly rising up, building up new ideas, new beliefs and foundations for
Definitely.
things such as this. Yeah, who knows where all of this shall take us.
We wouldn't be here if I didn't take psychedelics. Probably not.
Crazy times.
Actually, this, I guess, links into mental health. Men's mental health, about how psychedelics could effectively help people a lot. But yeah, let's just go into it. What do you think about men's mental health currently, in our current world?
In our current world, men's mental health, I feel like it's at the forefront now more than ever.
Really?
I do believe so. I believe society's finally understanding that men most often struggle in silence out of fear of being emasculated and not being seen to be a true man. I think this is something that is being understood now on a deeper level. And yes, like I said, put to the forefront.
I don't think it's the worst it's ever been now. I feel like it's getting better slowly, but it definitely was in the past 30 years. Like,
oh yeah,
completely men being suppressed. And
I think this is where things like toxic masculinity stems from, like
people
the need for people to assume alpha positions and act like nothing bothers them and that they can't be touched, and it's really a detrimental mindset to hold,
Definitely.
But now I feel like with the advent of technology, especially, and more information now more than ever being able to be so easily accessed.
The only problem is sometimes there's too much information out there.
For sure. But with the amount that we are offered, it does allow us to delve deeper and get greater understandings on an individual basis, because now you can have a single person talking into a camera about half an hour of their life, telling an account that you can listen to vividly and understand. So it's got benefits for sure, as well as negatives.
I actually next to obviously educating people about the DNA code, I want to also set a good example for men, because I feel like there's not many good role models out there. There is definitely a lot of role models for men, but I don't think there's any good role models, that people who are actually humble, people who are actually showing younger men and the younger generation what being a real man is like, the things you need to do to be a real man. Because I don't think doing things like going out and just being absolutely disrespectful to yourself, like just sleeping with anyone you can get, is essentially going to lead you to be happy, lead you to be satisfied. I think that's a coping mechanism, like just sleeping around with everyone.
I mean, that plays into society as a whole these days, with the whole dating scene and the classic line that, you know, chivalry is dead, and, you know, it's led to, I believe, a bigger mental health um, influx of people struggling.
Yeah.
The
Romance has definitely died down a lot in the past few years.
The structure of sleeping around, overall, it leads to more negative implications on a person than positive, because we are, well, for the past couple centuries, we've been living in families and having a stable partner for the majority of our lives, and it's been, for the most part, a straightforward existence that we have lived. And now in today's age, where everything's so free, so open, what once was probably seen as a utopia of individualism and freedom manifested, it's somehow twisted in on itself and become such a negative experience overall, where people no longer see themselves as being, I mean, I don't know how to say it succinctly, maybe like they view themselves as lesser because society tells them that they are so, because there's images portrayed to them of people doing so much better than they are, of looking so much better than they are, and
comparison is a killer of joy.
Comparison is the killer of joy, yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That quote has also got me thinking the other day, how you said comparison is a killer of joy, and I was like, in a way you're right, but what if comparison can also be the creator of joy? What if we could put ourselves into positions purposely which we know are worse than ours? Like, let's say, you're a millionaire, or not even a millionaire, just are very financially stable, financially good. And what if you purposely put yourself in situations where you go work in a factory for a week, so you can compare your life and create a better appreciation and better gratitude for what you have? Because I feel like without just being grateful, how people say practice gratefulness, it's difficult to do it by itself when you don't have anything to compare to. People create value of their own lives based on comparison and how good their life is compared to who are the closest to them. If you're in a group of friends who are all more wealthy than you, you will appreciate how much you have less because it's not as much as them. So what if us consciously and purposely we could, I don't know, like if your parent, instead of taking your kids on super nice holidays, take them to places which potentially have more poverty, so you can actually teach them a difference. Like, I feel like that'd be super effective for just people realizing, like, wow, I'm actually so lucky. I'm actually got everything I could ever ask for. Yeah.
I mean, yes, when you put it like that, I do believe that there is value to comparison. The ability to place yourself in someone else's shoes, and understand how lucky you are, and to understand how far you could perhaps get to. It definitely has its value and place within the human psyche. Just being grateful, as you said, being able to understand that everyone's own individual self is worthy and worthwhile, and that you are no more important or no less important than anybody else. We are all living the human experience, and I feel like you've got to be able to understand that everybody is on this journey with you.
Yeah, that is a good thing to pay attention to. Everyone is just the same as you, essentially. No one knows what's going on. Everyone is struggling with the same things. We are actually much more similar than we think we are.
We're all just lost in this mad old world together, in this crazy existence known as life, eh?
Yeah, that's why we need each other so much. We need to come together. If only there was a way.
If only, huh?
If only there was a way to get to know another person better, to be able to accept others for who they truly are, and not fight a constant battle of trying to change yourself and trying to change others all the time. Just accept how we work naturally.
If there was a method that you could use to see someone for who they truly are.
Yeah.
Please elaborate on what the innate code is.
As in, what DNA code does. Or
Yes, its purpose and its usefulness in society today.
I think the best way to put it is DNA code is not a method that we just created and to try to people. Okay, DNA code is not just a method we created in order to try and people.
Trying people.
I'm getting nervous.
It's the baby of yours, so you gotta give it its due.
It's hard though. But anyway,
take your time.
Take your time.
Maybe have a sip of water, sit back, relax, look at that nice old flannel you're wearing.
I do like this flannel.
It's good.
Yeah. I like the different styles I'm trying. Only problem with fashion is expensive.
That it is, yes.
But my wardrobe is all of that in there. It's just my clothes.
Charity shops are very useful though, for nice clothes that are very cheap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I've never. First time I went into a charity shop was literally like 2-3 months ago. My parents never really took me shopping. I mean, we never spent a lot on clothes, but it was always like Primark or eBay.
Yeah. Yeah, typical.
Anyway,
So, DNA code, huh?
DNA code. What is DNA code? That's a question everyone's been asking, right?
We're all dying for the answer.
We're all dying for the answer. DNA code isn't necessarily a method we created in order to try and help people understand themselves better. It's a method that was discovered. It was a method that, instead of saying a method, it was a concept, a thing that has always existed. We just never really paid attention to it. And this could be blamed to how people are so close-minded and how people are so scared of straying away from science itself, because I wouldn't necessarily say it's very scientific at the moment. It is a very spiritual method, which I feel like people who aren't spiritual will have a massive thing against without even knowing anything about it. But essentially what it is a way to be able to figure out the energies you were born with. These energies, these aren't energies like solar energy or energy in the form of electricity. These are energies we can't exactly sense. Energies that we have never really discovered before. And when we are born, we pick up these energies and distribute it into the different energy centers we have. And these energy centers have had many, many names, throughout the different centuries. I mean, they've been called many, many names over the past few centuries. But I think the most common name for them are chakras. I think it was the Hindus or the Buddhists who came up with it. And it is basically the idea that we have these energy centers that are located throughout our body. And when we are born, we take up this energy that gets distributed to it. And then that is what establishes the energy capacity we have. And this energy capacity represents our limitations, represents what we are capable of, like our sensitivity, our tolerance towards stress, towards emotions, towards a lot of different things. And that is basically what DNA code represents. A method to work out what these energy centers hold and what are the values that are present.
And they are unique to individuals based on cycles, right?
Based on cycle. But it sounds stupid when I say that at the start. Like, I'm like, oh, it's based on when you were, like, your day of birth. People are instantly be like, oh, horoscopes.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. That's why I'm trying to... How do you describe it without saying that,
I mean, there's so much more to it, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
These energies, these energies are things we cannot sense, things that we have never really seen before. It's not the energy in form of electricity or solar energy. These are energies that are present around us, but we cannot sense with the current equipment that we have. It is not explainable by science because we have not noticed their existence before. And what happens is when we are born, we uptake a certain amount of energy, this energy depending on which day of the cycle, this energy cycle we are in. And when we are born, these energies that get uptaken into our energy centers is what establishes the energy capacity we have for the rest of our lives. And this energy capacity represents our limitations, our tendencies, our sensitivity and workload in the different areas of our lives, such as the physical, the emotional, or the intellectual.
Succinct. Yes.
Yes.
That works, doesn't it?
It does work.
It does work.
I want to outline the difference between horoscopes. Let's get passionate here.
Yes.
Let's get real passionate. Hit me.
I mean, I've not really researched horoscopes in and of themselves to be able to actually outline what a horoscope actually is, other than the day of your birth determines set characteristics about yourself. Right?
I mean, that's what it really is.
Yeah. But that's all I know.
That is what it is.
Okay, so I'll ask. Upon saying the link between the date of your birth and the cycles in which you are born, how these link to your own base characteristics and your own individual self, I'm sure lots of people will imagine the innate code to be a sort of byproduct of horoscopes, essentially, right? However, there is so much more to the innate code, and it's so much deeper than that initial understanding. Would you care to explain that to people?
Yeah. I mean, definitely from an outside perspective, DNA code and horoscopes are essentially very, very similar. They work on the same concept, as in both things reveal stuff of an individual based on their date of birth, right? But they are very, very different. I mean, understandably, people are going to compare them, but they are very, very different from each other. The thing to understand about horoscopes is these descriptions were created on, there's 12 different star signs, we'll call them different names, right? And we'll give them descriptions each based on what we think about that individual. But the innate code, in essence, was created based on these descriptions present already. These characteristics were observed in individuals, and that's how the innate code was formed. That's how it was discovered.
Unlike horoscopes, where a description is placed to the personality, the innate code explains the personality. The innate code is the personality. It's not something that tries to emulate a person already by matching themselves to, a star sign or something such as that.
Exactly. And another thing which I think a lot of people recognize about horoscopes is the descriptions are very, very, very vague and general enough to be applied to basically every single person. If you take any star sign, for example, you will realize that this actually all applies to me. These are not different whatsoever. These are just the same things repeated in different ways. And if you look at any of the types in the innate code, any emotional type, any physical type, you will realize they have different energy values. And these energy values represent sometimes the opposite characteristics. One emotional type will be completely emotionless, whereas the other one will be emotional. So you can't apply these two to yourself because that just doesn't make any sense. So I think that is the biggest difference about it, is these aren't just general descriptions. These are actually very specific, and people are still finding that this actually does apply to me, which wouldn't make any sense if the method didn't work, because if these descriptions are so different from one another, how is it applying to every single person? How is it working, The
innate code is truly a behemoth of a concept to truly grasp, and therefore, I guess for the audience, will slowly ease them in. It can't all be a straight, essential lecture, because it'll be a lot to take in. So I think in parts it will be
Yes,
easier to understand.
definitely. It is way too much information to really try and learn, and to try and learn every single type is an impossible task. Even for
And it
someone
adds to the
like me.
credibility, as Bernat was saying, with something like horoscopes, star signs. It's funny that in the generalness of it, it makes you feel special. It's like the trick. It's so general that it gives you value because you feel it applies to you, because of how much it really doesn't. Because it's so general, it makes you feel special, whereas it's just the same for everybody else. With
Yes.
this, it's a deep dive into an actual person, into the way you behave, into the way you feel, into the way your intelligence levels speak, and you're able to understand things. So
I mean, a lot of people do like horoscopes. You know, I know there's a lot of people who don't, but a lot of people do like horoscopes because of what you just said.
need something to believe in,
Yeah,
and people crave something to comfort them, to have a better understanding of themselves, because we live in a time where everyone is lost, where secularism rules because religion is dying. So people are grasping for straws at things to believe in.
yeah, trying to.
And the innate code gives them something to truly understand, not just from a spiritual level, but to a scientific understanding as well, which is far more beneficial because you're able to analyze it, understand it, and have conversations in which you can discuss it openly. The innate code allows for analytical discussions, open and thorough debates, and a deeper sense of self and of meaning. And this is something that can truly be beneficial once understood and once available to the masses. And this is our goal, and this is our mission. This is the innate understanding.
That's good.
Yeah. I got all the little bites, you know,
Yeah.
for shorts, Bill, for YouTube shorts.
That's what we're going after, really, essentially. I mean, yes, some people are going to sit down for a whole podcast, potentially, if you're really interested.
But that's how you get them, the YouTube shorts, and they will be more interested in actually watching all of it. Yeah.
Definitely. This gets onto the question which I actually did prepare for.
Okay.
Go into this naturally, I guess. What do you think the innate code could be used for, if from your perspective of the knowledge you know about it so far?
From a psychological point of view, it could help with therapy, I suppose. It could ease people suffering from mental illness, to gain a better understanding of themselves, to be less confused in a world that tries to confuse them every day. It's just something else that adds to the overall hemisphere of human knowledge and understanding, to dissect oneself and gain a better understanding, a deeper knowledge, and yeah, I guess that's what I'll say about that.
No, mental health is definitely the big thing about it. And therapy, if therapists could just have a better understanding of their clients from the moment they walk into their office, that could just speed up the process so much. Increase the amount of progress they make in a single session by 1,000, you know, like, could be so useful for therapists and psychologists in general.
Yes, definitely.
I think one of the best uses is, and I can relate because I am currently in that age group, is for young people. Because I feel like young people, especially in today's age, there are so many different options, you know, a person can go down, and so many career options, in fact, that a lot of people don't know what choices to make, which route to go with, which path to take. And I think this comes from the fact that there are so many options out there that it's just overwhelming for a lot of people. And we don't want to regret the decisions we make, because the career path we choose is so important for how we live the rest of our lives. Because a lot of people, after going down a certain career, struggle to choose another career because
you get stuck.
Yeah, you get stuck. At some point you have dependents on you, or you can just not afford to do that. And yeah, I feel like DNA code offers a solution in a way. it won't solve all your problems because, you know, you'll have your own personal biases. You have pressures from your peers and family and just society in general, but it kind of creates a path in a way. I feel like a lot of younger people are just drifting, not sure where they want to be or what to do. And DNA code can, in a way, offer a guide of sort a
Helping hand.
helping hand of maybe this thing would be better for you. I mean, for example, for me, you know, February the 4th, 2004. For me, my emotional type is a sensitive and my intellectual type is a productive, which means emotionally I feel a lot. I can sense what other people are feeling. And I also think a lot, which is the reason I chose psychology to go down, to do for my uni course, because I can pick out people's emotions and analyze in a lot of different details, which I feel like suits me for who I am, suits my character, suits my innate code, because I can use my natural gifts that I was born on to maximize my potential and to use it in the most effective way possible.
Yes, and I don't want an audience to feel like we're giving them a be-all, end-all solvent to any problem that they may face, obviously.
Yes.
Because even within the innate code, there are outliers to certain situations, and it may not always match up completely 100%, right? And so, like everything else, it's not a fail-safe solution, but it's a solution that can offer a whole heap of positive benefits and can truly help people once fully understood.
No, definitely, I agree. People have their own free will, you know. People have their own free will to make the choices they want to make. But so you shouldn't look at DNA code as a means of this is exactly what you have to do, because that is unfair. There will be a lot of different factors into the choices you should make and the things you should do. But I do want to say that DNA code does act as a good guideline, because in a lot of cases there's certain situations which are really not advisable for some people. I mean, it does happen a lot of the times that some people are completely not like DNA code, but then again, these same people, I find that these same people are the most miserable out of all the people I meet, because they are not going along with DNA code, because they are, you know, putting themselves into situations which are in a way stressful for them, situations which aren't very ideal, aren't very beneficial towards them, and things that will cause them stress. And you know, stress is such a big killer in our society. It's one of the worst things, because it's not just going to affect you mentally, it's going to affect you physically, your physical health, like high blood pressure, obesity, all of these things. And that is why DNA code is so important, because it makes you avoid these things and helps you create a better future for yourself.
Which I believe is another incredible benefit of the innate code for people whose creativity levels are meant to go into a particular field where they're meant to be able to express themselves freely, and their energy dictates that they should do that. For them to be told that they shouldn't be going through such, or going to such fields, through parental expectations, school expectations, go into an office job, be structured in a particular way, do this, do that, it does overall have an impact on stress levels, on the decline of young people's mental health, in not knowing who they are, in not knowing what to do. And so again, whilst it's not a be-all, end-all solvent, like I said, it does have implications that can be very, very beneficial and useful.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The thing about you said about the office job, you know, there's certain impulsive types, like yourself,
Hello.
that are unable to do things like an office job. I cannot imagine you sitting in front of an office for 9 hours a day and just be alright. Because some physical types like yourself need to move around every few minutes, need to be doing something, need to release their energy. Otherwise, not sitting down or having to stay still causes you stress. But there are also people who perhaps enjoy sitting for 9 hours a day, such as conservatives, such as people who do not like a fast-paced environment, people who prefer to just sit down and get their work done and then go home. There are those types, so it very, very much depends on the person.
It's so useful in being able to not judge people. To understand that the reason they are like they are, it's not because they're a boring person. Like you said, they may be a conservative type, where their energy levels dictate and where they're comfortable in, being in an office, doing their work, and living a, in my point of view, quiet, comfortable, socially acceptable lifestyle.
Exactly, we are all very, very unique in a way. And you're right, we should just accept for people for how they are and understand that there's a reason why people behave the way they do. And just because they're different from us does not make them boring, does not make them weird, does not make them,
any lesser than you. I kind of test to delving into the innate code. This is Benat's baby. This is his project. I am simply
this is our
here.
project now.
Well, I joined late, but I can say delving into it, getting the information, it's very exciting, and I believe that people actually learning about it will be very, very thrilled to enter a new sphere of knowledge and understanding and information that they can hopefully relate to.
Yeah.
I wanted to say the website that's in Hungarian, right? The Hungarian side of the website.
Right, yeah.
What's going to be done about these for that side of the website? Is it eventually going to get translated? Because there's a whole audience that might not be able to comprehend English fluently.
For Hungarian. I mean, Hungarian people is like 10 million people max.
So it's not the biggest audience that you seek for, but it's still important, right?
Yeah, it's not the most important thing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it is, but not the priority. There's a lot of things I want to do. I mean, I want, the reason Squid Game was so popular and famous, so successful, is because Netflix released it in 20 different languages. So everyone around the world could see it, from English speakers to Spanish to French to Chinese.
That's truly how you get a global audience, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I want to do with the innate code as well. But obviously, that's just going to take time.
It's time, yeah.
That's not the priority right
Baby
now.
steps.
Yeah, and to hire people to translate it, that's money as well. So, but that will eventually get there. I mean, we're just going to be a little part of the company. We're just going to be a little piece of it. I mean, I'm expecting it to grow to 1,000 employees doing different things, big corporation. That's where it's going to be at. And well, that's my hope anyway.
My hope as well.
Yeah, it'll be good. Exciting times. I can't believe I'm so grateful for this, for being able to have this opportunity and this discovery of it, because I have no idea what I'd be doing without it.
Yes, I mean,
I'd just be drifting like everyone else.
I keep on saying thank you for the opportunity, but I do mean it. Thank you for the opportunity because, I've got to be part of a crazy experience,
Yeah, it's a purpose. You get.
I'm used to crazy experiences, but this is definitely quite a crazy experience.
That's a big thing from you, who's lived it all.
So,
a crazy thing happened when I've heard a lot about dreams and different theories about why we dream and stuff. But this experience that I had is definitely a very, very, very interesting one. So me and my girlfriend, we were, falling asleep next to each other I don't know, any average day really. And something really, really weird happened when we woke up the next day. She kind of looked at me and she was like, we woke up, had a normal morning, casual conversation, and then she was like, I just had this really weird dream. And I was like, yeah, me too, that's crazy, we both just had a weird dream. And she was like, but then I said something, just randomly that came to my mind, imagine if we had the same dream, as a joke. And she was like, yeah, and then she started telling, and then I asked, all right, what was your dream about? And she was like, she started telling me. And what my dream was about was we were traveling, both of us, because we traveled a few months back, and we were traveling in this very like deserted, dry area. I don't know, maybe like in Iraq or something. It was very dry, like very deserty, and I'm not sure how we ended up at these two guys' house, but we went to these two guys' houses, and I think one of the guys disappeared, and then he brought back these like, I'm not sure, chains or something. Anyway, basically like they were trying to kidnap us, and like tie us down or something. But I remember I like ran away, and tried to call for help, but then I got lost, and the dream gets a bit blurry from there. And then when my girlfriend Hannah, she started telling me her story about, oh yeah, we were traveling and we got kidnapped. I was like, what? That was my exact dream. And I was like, go on. And she was like, oh, we were like hitchhiking, where you put your phone up and you try and get a ride. And then these two guys like picked us up and took us to their house. So it was the start of my dream. And then she was like, oh yeah, and then you disappeared because you like ran away or something in the middle of my dream, and I was just with these two guys at this house. So hers was the start of my dream that I can't remember, and mine was the end of my different perspectives, but it was the same like location, same event that was happening, like exact same, like, dry place, two guys kidnapped, traveling, like these two things just aligned in a crazy way, and like that is so mind-blowing.
Our unconscious is like it's the biggest unknown to us, right? Like dreams, like we have no idea the cause for them exactly, or why we dream what we dream, and we have basic understandings of certain dreams, like if you're falling from a high place, or if your teeth are falling out, I'm pretty sure it's manifestations of anxiety and stress within your life. But for specific stories told within a dream, and why two people can share a similar experience within their unconscious, it's crazy, weird, isn't it?
Definitely. Like, do you think our minds are connected when we sleep, or
to a spiritual level? Maybe is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, perhaps that was it. I don't know, but it was a very bizarre experience.
I definitely think that while science can explain a lot, there is a lot that science cannot explain, and scientists will say that is stuff that is yet to be discovered, and science will eventually discover it. There can be, and possibly will be, instances where science simply fails to, and for such instances and experiences, the spiritual world may be the answer, and for something where two people can share a dream, maybe there is a deeper connection, maybe there is something that's bringing us together. Maybe you and Hannah were meant to be together right now, here, at a specific time, to be able to connect and to be able to understand each other truly, Maybe there is something to that.
Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I know the spiritual world is definitely an undiscovered territory which science does not really fit in with. And that's why it's very rejected, which is a shame.
Although
I think it's getting more popular.
Like we were discussing earlier, the internet has allowed for so many new experiences to be broadcast to so many people. Allowing for new opinions all the time to be formed and discussions to be had. It's an exciting time to be alive.
Definitely. It is.
DNA code can be a part of that.
It
can fit in.
Can be. I thought we'd staying away from it. And this last little topic, I want to just go into. I said this in a previous podcast, but I feel like we could discuss it in a bit of detail. But I was just thinking the other day, like, how many famous books, like ancient books, let's say from Socrates, or very, very, very old books that have been around for ages, how many of them have actually been written by women but published under men's name?
Where did this idea stem from?
I was just thinking about, the whole equality war we're having right now, and because I do think women in the past, maybe not nowadays, I think it's definitely gone much more equal. Women are much more equal nowadays, but in the past, women have definitely been suppressed. And it just, I don't know, I think the idea stemmed from that, like how women may have not been taken that seriously in the past, but I definitely think some of them have really good ideas to share and to be able to increase their influence. Perhaps maybe they decided they wanted to publish under men's name to get a bigger word out there.
I'm sure thousands of women in times gone by published under pseudonyms of male names so that they could have their works published, so that they could be heard and listened to. And it's such a shame that they had to strip away their individuality and their own success, essentially.
Yeah.
They had to mask it due to the world in which they lived.
And we don't give them any credit because we have no idea.
I definitely believe that there was probably hundreds, thousands of works done by females which were able to paint a beautiful picture of womanhood in the times in which they lived that would have simply been ignored at the time.
Not just womanhood, just what the world is now. How much they have contributed and we don't even know.
Different perspectives are always good.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, so many pieces of work are probably misidentified and mislabeled, and we live in a world of naivete.
Yeah.
There's so much that we don't know, and so many things that we think we know we probably have got wrong. So it's definitely an interesting topic that you could delve within and properly do research upon. I'm sure there is countless articles explaining, how certain works could have perhaps been done by somebody else and the evidence to back it. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Innate Understanding. We appreciate you. Yes. And on to the next one.
On to the next one.